When you were a kid, was the kitchen a fun place of childhood discovery, or was it a dangerous place of cuts and burns, a place only for adults? Well, do you think the rest of your life might have been different if someone had shared with you the 5 kitchen truths that kids need to know to be better adults? Well, that's what I'm going to do today on the Carefree Cook's Code. I'm Chef Todd Moore, and this is the Carefree Cook's Code, every Tuesday live at noon Eastern. Here's our challenge. How can home cooks cook freely with creativity, confidence, and pride while ignoring recipes and still impressing themselves and others with what they cook? Well, the answer is found in becoming empowered with how cooking works, using dependable and repeatable methods of cooking that work for any ingredient, for any diet, and any desire, just like chefs do. And we'll know we've cracked it when everyone sees cooking as an exciting and rewarding way to improve their relationships, their lifestyles, and their health through better food and cooking. This is the Carefree Cook's Code. Hey everybody, welcome back. Here we are once again. It's the Carefree Cook's Code, every week, Tuesday at noon, the show for the techniques, the insights, the methods into better food and cooking. And if you're looking for any of the past ones, you can go to the archive on facebook.com/chef.todd.more/videos. There our weekly live schedule as well. And if you want to see what I'm cooking, like this incredible pork ropa vieja, was that last Thursday that I did? Oh my God, that was so good. We're going to be doing it again, but you can see the other things I'm cooking on Instagram, instagram.com/Chef Todd Moore, because I'm a carefree cook. I create my own recipes. I don't need your books. I bring my friends and family together. I learn every time I cook. I create my own unique cooking style, not somebody else's. It's all because I practice pro methods and I wind up really loving my cooking. Hey everybody. All right, I want to get going right away today because I have a really important topic to talk to you about. How your child or your grandchild lives their life as an adult might depend on what I tell you today. I don't mean to make it that heavy, but to me, nothing could be more important than putting these ideas into young kids' heads. And I've got some experience with it, and I want to share that with you today. But first, we're going to play one of our silly little games. This week it's a What Am I? Take a good look. Anybody that's been following me might know what that is. Yesterday would be a big time for that. I had it for dinner last night, not that one, but anyway, in the comment section below, what am I? Tell me what am I? Okay, I'm so glad we're together again. I love Tuesdays. I got a lot to talk to you about today. There is way more information in my head than I can possibly get into your brain in just 30 minutes a week. It's frustrating for me, okay? So I'm constantly trying to think of new ways, new things that I can share with you. Always coming up with new ways to get the best cooking methods, to give you the advice that sticks with you, okay? So that's the idea. Sticks with you. You use it again and again for the rest of your life. Yeah, I'm a chef, okay? But if I teach you how to cook one meal, which is what a recipe does, or a cookbook does, or a TV show does, if I teach you how to cook one meal, you eat for one day. But if I teach you how to cook, you eat for, you get it, right? You know how that saying goes. So I really consider myself an educator first, more so than a chef. There are plenty of chefs that are much better than I am. Trust me. I'm good. I'm not as good as them, but I'll tell you what, I am really proud to call myself a chef because I have a dual degree in professional cooking and baking. I've held some really big executive chef jobs. I've purchased food. I've organized and orchestrated the cooking for thousands of people per day, but I still would call myself an educator first, so that I'm able to take those experiences and bring them to you, not just culinary college students, but bring them to you. And when I earned my certified culinary educator accreditation in 2013, I just felt like it all came together for me because I've always taught something. I've always been motivated and passionate about teaching. 35 years ago here, I was teaching swimming. That's what, teaching swimming to children. I was a lifeguard at a community pool, sitting up on the lifeguard stand there, more than that maybe. I love to teach, and I still love to teach to this day. It's what I live for. I love to read your comments. I get very excited. That's what I look like when I open up my email in the morning. I want to help you solve your frustrations. I want to give you a new perspective on something that you may not have had before, because to me, that's the joy in teaching. When someone has that aha moment that opens doors for them. I've seen it in adults, and I've seen it in children. But adults, God, they're so hard. Adults are hard to teach because they carry around a lot of uncertainty with them. It's something that you try to teach to an adult usually has to overcome something that they already know, and they hold firmly on it. They believe this to be true, so you got to knock that wall down first before you build up another one. It's difficult to do with adults. And often, to help an adult realize that they've been wrong the whole time in the way that they've been thinking, that's a tough challenge as well. But you got to do that before you start rebuilding. And that's why adults are so much harder to teach than children are. Adults need to reset to adopt something new. But children are ready. Children are totally ready to hear things. They're like sponges, you know? And if you have young kids or if you have grandkids, you know to be very careful around them. They are listening to everything you say. They're interpreting it through their little tiny eyes, and they're mirroring it. That's the other thing. They are mirroring it the very first chance they get. They are doing what you do. They are so impressed with everything you do because you're the one showing them how to do it. And if you have grandchildren, you are especially exalted in a child's mind because the grandmother, the grandfather, you're older, you're wiser, you're kinder. Usually, you are the mother or the father of their mother or father, which is totally baffling to them. They won't figure that out for a few years. Plus, you give them cool stuff, right? And you never have to discipline them. So being a grandparent, I imagine, is a lot better than being a parent. But this is where we get back to teaching adults, okay? Because these young humans, these pre-adult little seedlings, right? They have wide open ears, wide open eyes. Their minds are gathering all this stuff so that they can become an adult. And your relationship with them now can have a really big impact on the adults that they become. Because generally there are two types of adults that I would teach cooking to in my cooking school. The first were the ones that were brought into the kitchen at a young age by mom or grandma, grandpa, dad, whatever it might be. In my case, it was grandpa. My grandpa, Milton Moore, there he is, Milton Moore, full head of white hair at 86. And that is me at 5 years old or so. But Grandpa Milton, he was the cook in the family. And you know, when I was a kid, this was kind of baffling to me. Like, I would always say, why does Grandpa, the male, right? Why does the male cook? All right, 1960s chauvinism taught to me at a young age. And plus, if you knew my grandmother, the very proper English woman from Wimbledon, Ivy Mansfield, you would know she did not get her hands dirty with stuff like that. But these people, the people that were brought in early, these people are curious, right? They want to explore the kitchen. They have so much more confidence. They're free. They do things with no fear. They want to try new things, and they are so much easier to teach because they're willing to give up what they already think they know for something new and different. They've kind of been conditioned in that way. They'll give up those preconceptions. But you know, I know that can be kind of scary to some people. And scary is what defines the second batch of people that I've taught. And these are the children that were told that the kitchen is a dangerous place, that you're in the way. Children are in the way in the kitchen. You can cut yourself. You can burn yourself. This is just no place for children. So what do you think the starting perspective on cooking is for this type of adult? They have no confidence. They're incredibly serious about their cooking. I see this all the time because of the possible disasters, right, that lie around every corner. They have to precisely measure everything, so they have something to blame. They got to cook exactly for 3 to 5 minutes, like the recipe says. They're tight. They're protective. They're on defense in cooking. They are really hard to teach. They're not impossible, but much harder than the adult whose mind was opened at a very young age. You get where I'm going with this? But look, there's a third adult that I'm starting to encounter lately. And this third type of person, she has none of the characteristics of the previous two. This person was not welcomed into the kitchen by grandma or mom and was not shooed out of the kitchen by them either. They never went in the kitchen at all. And neither did their mom, for that matter. There is a cooking dead zone. And you might have gotten sucked into it. There is a cooking dead zone, happened somewhere in mid-70s to 80s, as far as I can figure. It's where passing on respect for food and cooking, came to a complete halt. So if you were a child in the mid-1970s, your mom, 60s or 70s, your mom probably cooked dinner just about every night of the week. In your home, the kitchen was the center of activity, right? There was one telephone bolted to the wall with a very long tangled cord dangling below it, right? That rotary phone there, that was the conduit to the outside world. But it's not the only type of communication going on in your kitchen, because your mother or your grandmother was communicating more knowledge than the phone ever can. And as you as a child, mid-60s to mid-70s, you were witnessing all that was going on around you because you saw the fresh food from the grocery store. You might have gone to the town butcher. You maybe grew ingredients in your backyard. Your grandma did tomatoes or you did herbs. You knew what food was because it passed before you day and night. That one room, that gorgeous olive green kitchen, that one room in your home, it generated the excitement of dinner time together. It was family gatherings. It was visitors from the neighborhood or across the country. It was holiday meals. It was all the smells of cooking that I'm sure you can remember to this day. Olfactory memories are very strong. I know you can smell Grandma's kitchen. And you probably did your homework on the kitchen table, right? As mom got together the classic meat and two sides. But if you were a child growing up after that, right, you most probably stayed in the living room, right? You got from the mid-70s on, you were watching the boob tube, you were ruining your eyesight for the rest of your life, right? Never happened. You're rotting your brain, as your mom would say, and mom probably heated up the Swanson TV dinner, and there were actual tables made for this, the TV table. Maybe she mixed up some ground beef for the hamburger helper. But if you were a kid in the 80s or 90s, you didn't even get a TV dinner. Mom picked up the phone and she called for takeout or pizza or something. So where's all the love gone? Where has the love of cooking? Where has the enjoyment of choosing your meat from the butcher? Where has the exhilaration of growing your own tomatoes disappeared to? It's terrible. The decline of the household kitchen as the epicenter of the body, the soul of nutrition in the home, it seems like there is none of that anymore. But there's a way to stop it. There is a way to stop this trend right now because we are going to create healthy adults for tomorrow. We want to be sure the kids know what good food is, how to identify it, how to get it, and what to do with it. And based on what I've witnessed in food culture over the past few decades that I've been teaching, I think there are 5 really wonderful things that can happen around food and the kitchen that should be mandatory for making tomorrow's adults a better person. Because ultimately, I think there are 5 kitchen truths that your kids need to know to become better adults. Now, remember, it's up to you to show them these things. They're not going to discover it by themselves. All right? So let's try and get these 5 truths onto our kids and our grandkids. The first is food is nature. Okay, so grow something. A child of any age can be shown how to put seeds into the dirt and watch them grow. It's thrilling for them to see it get bigger and bigger and sprout leaves and so on. It teaches so many lessons, and you don't need a whole backyard, maybe like grandma had. If you live in the city, a few flower pots, some herbs makes it really exciting. And then you use that to cook with, they see the whole process. Share the truth with them about where food comes from, including meat, right? Be sure that they know that the mega grocery store isn't the only people that sell food. That's not where food starts, at the mega grocery store. Take your child or your grandchild to the farmer's market. Take them to the farm. Take them to the road stand and talk to them about how that stuff got to the road stand and who that guy is standing behind the road stand. Show them that there are people whose lives are dedicated to providing food to the community beyond a faceless corporation. Beef comes from cows. Pork comes from pigs. Chicken comes from chickens. It's a fact of our life. The main sources of proteins that we eat don't start at the grocery store. And look, the object is not to scare the crap out of a kid. You know, the object is not to inflict any political agenda on your young child. Don't terrify the kid with too much information about slaughter. It's not, okay? Softly pedal it. Only you can decide if the time is right and their age is right to tell them about the cows and the chickens, right? But until then, make them aware that food is a natural item. It doesn't come from a factory. There are benefits and consequences to the way that we raise and eat food, and your kids can make their own choices about it. Let them know where both sides of this is when they're at the right age and they can understand this. But until then, make sure they know cheap food, fast food, is not more exciting. This is an important thing from an early age. Going to McDonald's should not be the special night out. You get together with grandma takes you to McDonald's. That exalts fast food to such a level. Don't make fast food out to be more than what it really is. Tell them it's cheap and convenient. Tastes good, but it's not the best thing for you. Make sure you help them to start identify good food versus good marketing. Right? Good food badly marketed versus bad food with great marketing. Millions of dollars of marketing. You can take your child to the drive-thru, but make it apparent that this just isn't the best way to eat, because time in the kitchen together is much higher quality time than time in the drive-thru together. Wouldn't you think? You could teach your kids that kindness comes from the kitchen. This is an important thing. When you prepare meals or you do some baking for someone else, someone in need, someone who's ill, you do this with your children, your grandchildren. You take the food to those people. You contribute to a community bake sale with something you baked. You volunteer at a local food charity. Show them another perspective on the people that don't have food, right? You can demonstrate that food is love. Food is caring. Food is kindness. It is impactful. And you see, it affects me. Bring them into the kitchen at an early age. It is amazing what you can teach a child, what they learn from the kitchen. Help to create the first type of adult that I told you about. Show your kids, show your grandkids that the kitchen is a safe place. It's a place to generate confidence and creativity. The kitchen is fun and exciting. Don't tell your kids that cooking is dangerous and difficult. Don't tell them all the ways they can cut themselves or ruin dinner or burn themselves. No matter what the age, they can help with something. They can clean the string beans. First job I probably did. They can stir something. They can place cooked items on the plate. Anything that gets them involved in respecting food and starting to learn to cook and be comfortable in the kitchen. There are so many Food pressures on our kids today, they are heavy food pressures. The exciting food, it's cheap, it's readily available, it comes with a lot of marketing, it appears on TV. We don't have farmers showing you lettuce on TV, right? So home cooked meals are not, unless you make them, preferable to the lesser foods. And the way you do that is you include your children in the entire cycle of good food, how it impacts your enjoyment, how it impacts your nutrition, your health, and ultimately their entire adulthood could depend on this. Create an adult palate in your children early on in life. Start sharing all those things that occur in and around the kitchen, and you'll be amazed at the difference it might make. It turns kids into curious people and ultimately into healthier, more social, more confident people. This should be the heart of the home, where children become great adults in the kitchen by respecting food and learning basic cooking skills. Because when you do bring your children or grandchildren into the kitchen, cooking teaches them organization, place for everything and everything in its place. Patience. No, the cookies aren't ready yet. You got it. The timer says 2 more minutes. Precision. Measurements. How to do it right. Math. One of the best ways to teach math is through cooking. Science. How things happen. Why they happen. Hand coordination. Stirring. Pouring. Mixing. Decision making. How to overcome disappointments. Problem solving. How to fix it for the next time. Respect of hazards rather than fear of them. The kitchen can still be dangerous. You don't have to run from it. Nutrition and what it means to the body. Earth science, why food grows in some places and doesn't others. Social skills, the put it back where you found it rule. Respect for equipment. Respect for teacher. Communication, a sense of pride. Confidence, creativity, all of these lifelong skills. These are the skills they will never forget. And they learn them in the kitchen, cooking with you. That's where they learn them. I mean, we talked about this a few weeks ago, right? Cooking resolutions, beginning of the year, cooking resolution. Wouldn't that be a great one for you to do? Bring someone else into the kitchen and share what you've learned to this point. Resolve this year to spend more time with your kids or grandkids in the kitchen, even if it's over Zoom, okay? You're on Zoom, mom is on Zoom helping them. Even if it's virtual, you will have a much better year and a more enjoyable year, and you'll have a better adult, no doubt. Oh, disclaimer, I don't have kids. Okay, but I've taught kids, and I know that they are hungry for knowledge. They want you to share things with them, not adult things, and they want adult things like cooking. Never mind. Making a better adult starts in the kitchen. That's really what I meant for today. All right, let's get back to the what am I for today. It's what I had for dinner last night. Now, not this very one. Do you know what it is? It's haggis. Haggis, the national dish of Scotland. Last night was Burns night, celebrating the birthday of Scotland's national poet laureate, Robbie Burns. You know Robbie Burns if you know Old Lang Syne at New Year's Eve. You know Robbie Burns. The problem with haggis, and I posted my haggis photo, and everybody was like, absolutely no way. I wish way back when they had, instead of putting haggis in a sheep's stomach, they had put haggis in a loaf pan like Americans do meatloaf. I have a theory that if the Scots had made haggis like meatloaf, people would love it. It's the sheep stomach that bugs people, and it doesn't have to be made in a sheep stomach. Haggis is no different than any sausage. If you have breakfast sausage and oatmeal, you basically have haggis. If I ground up sausage into my oatmeal sometime, it's just like haggis. Give it another chance. You're not going to eat it in a sheep's stomach. It's haggis. And also, if you have my Scottish Food Finds course, you can see me interview Scotland's haggis champion. Haggis champion, Fraser McGregor. You can discover the history of the haggis dish and find out why Fraser had to apprentice for 14 years before he could make the haggis. Hey, if you know someone who would benefit from a more childlike acceptance of a new way of looking at cooking, please like, love, share this video with everybody, the rest of the internet while you're at it, so everyone can benefit from today's Carefree Cooks Code. And if you knew what tomorrow's chefs were learning in culinary school, then you could start to bring these concepts into your very own kitchen and cook the way that they do. It's really not that hard. You don't need any prior skills, and it's totally free when you join me for my next online web class. It's the 5 skills taught in culinary school that are essential in all cooking. So if you go to webcookingclasses.com/skills to hold your spot in the next class, or find a class time that's right for you. Hey, until next Tuesday, where we take more steps toward breaking the Carefree Cooks Code, this is Chef Todd Moore reminding you that there's a method to your cooking success. Bye, everyone.